US, despite having the highest GDP in the world, has American citizens are the least traveled internationally. Do you know that? Probably not. I did not know that until I did the research. That is according to an article in the 2017 Business Insider. The same year, the Daily Star published an article that said out of the 196 countries on this planet, that the average person has been to 7%, so 14 countries. Now, I would like everyone, with a show of hands, who would consider themselves average based on this travel stat, that you've been to at least 14 countries?
At least?
At least 14 countries. Not a lot of us, right? It's exactly what I would have expected. Most of us have not traveled that much. I have friends who, all the way into their 30s, had not left the country, let alone their state. Now, I have gotten lucky with the career choice that I've made, which facilitates and encourages travel. So I'm lucky to have seen 79 countries so far. But it made me wonder, if I didn't have this career, where would I be today? Would I be able to consider myself one of those average statistics when it comes to travel? I don't know. And so it made me wonder, what are some of the obstacles to travel, and how could we overcome these obstacles to travel? Aside from obviously overcoming that fear of the unknown and being willing to travel, the two main reasons that came up in most of the conversations I've had is lack of money and a lack of time. So let's talk about money first. It's not that expensive to take a road trip down to Philly. But if you start adding flights and visas and hotels and longer durations, that cost can increase significantly. There is a survey conducted by Solo Traveler, which found that 56% of travelers between the ages of 25 and 34 spent $500 to $1,500 for a one-week trip. And that doesn't include flights. And 30% of those travelers that are above the age of 55 spent $1,500 to $2,500 for the same one-week trip. Luxury travels, the costs were upwards of $5,000. So the same one-week trip can vary in price significantly. What does that mean for us? That means that we need to plan. We don't think about it that much, but we need to plan. We need to decide where we want to go, and we need to decide how we want to travel. Do we want to do budget, or do we want to do luxury? Then we need to research. What is the cost of a flight to where we want to go? What is the cost of hotels? What's the cost of transportation, food, etc.? And then what we need to do is, just like a savings account, we need to create a travel account. We need to make sure we put aside some money every month so that we can take that trip in the future. Because $2,500, asking that of pretty much anybody to just dish that out on the spot and say, okay, now here we go, we're going on a trip, is a lot to ask. But if you're planning that for a year, you can split that up into $200 a month, which amounts to about $6 a day. And if we think about it, is there something that we all spend $6 on every day that we could save instead? We could skip that purchase and put that money towards a future trip? Most likely. So, in addition to planning for money, the second obstacle is time. That's most commonly referred to as a barrier to travel. To take that one-week trip, we need 1 week free. Now, when we were younger, it was a lot easier to come across that kind of time. We had spring break, Christmas break, summer vacations, tons of holidays. We had an abundance of free time that we could do whatever we wanted to with. But as we gain more years, we also gain more responsibilities, and we gain more demands on our time. And the most common, most pervasive demand on our time is our jobs. Most people with a full-time job have a Monday to Friday schedule, possibly 9 to 5, 40 hours or more. A lot of people work overtime and weekends. So our jobs are very demanding. Where do we find that free time? However, most jobs also offer vacation days. And this next stat was a little bit surprising to me, because there was a research conducted by U.S. Travel Association, Oxford Economics, and Ipsos that found that 55% of travelers in 55% of workers in 2018 did not use the majority of their vacation days. So 768 million days went unused. Cost was a very common barrier that everyone mentioned, but the other thing that the study highlighted was planning. More than half of American households do not take time to plan a vacation, and they end up missing out. 23% of non-planners haven't taken a trip in the last 2 years, compared to 4% of planners. And I know that there are tons of other factors that could affect our ability to travel, but if time and money are your main reasons, proper planning, budgeting, and making travel a priority can remove some of those obstacles and help us see the world. We have a choice. We can view travel as this unnecessary expense that we try to avoid because it's just for some superficial gratification, or we can look at it as an investment into a richer life, more meaningful experiences and relationships, and something that's going to provide us with value for years to come. The question is, how do you want to define it? But more importantly, do you think you can strive to be at least average within your lifetime? Thank you.